This text is an Old Testament pseudographic catalog of demons summoned by King Solomon, and how they can be countered by invoking angels and other magical techniques. It is one of the oldest magical texts attributed to King Solomon, dating 1st to 3rd century AD. Our story starts with King Solomon noticing that the young son of his master workman was growing thinner each day, despite being given double wages and double supply of food. When the child was questioned, he told the king that a demon had been harassing him every day after sunset by siphoning his energy through his thumb. Solomon prayed to God that the demon may come to him so that he could gain authority over it. Michael, the archangel of Lord Sabaoth, came down from the heavens and granted Solomon a ring in the shape of a pentalpha. Solomon gave the ring to the young boy and instructed him to cast the ring onto the demon's chest the next time the demon siphoned his energy. The boy obeyed his instructions, and the demon named Orneus was summoned to Solomon. Solomon questioned Orneus's intentions, in which he replies, "I am offspring of the archangel Uriel, the power of God." Solomon used Orneus's connections to the prince of demons, whose name was Beelzebul, to summon legions of demons, in which he systematically processed. Solomon would ask who they are, what stars they are from, and what angels they fear most. After his questioning, he would seal the demons away to perform labor on his temple by constructing stone, marble, mending hip into rope, or casting gold and silver. After the completion of the temple, Solomon began to lust after a Shunammite woman and told her priest he desired her for a wife. The priest of Moloch said, "If thou lovest this maiden, go in and worship our gods, the great god Raphan and the god called Moloch." At first, Solomon refused, but the woman seduced him into making a small sacrifice of 5 grasshoppers in the name of Moloch, in which she would sleep with him if he did. Solomon gave into his temptation and became obliged by the woman to build a temple of idols to Baal, to Raphan, and to Moloch. Throughout this story, the word seal or sealed is mentioned 29 times. This is referring to the number of times Solomon used the seal on his ring to seal the demons away. In the beginning of the story, Solomon received a ring with what the text describes as a pentalpha engraved on it. However, it's not so clear what the symbol is exactly due to translational variations and uncertainties. In the text, the seal is also referred to as the seal of God, and in other related stories, such as 1001 Nights, it is referred to as the seal of Solomon and is found on a copper vessel with a leaden seal. On the leaden seal is this symbol that has the great name of God engraved on it. The seal of Solomon is also thought to be the 6-pointed hexagon star, which many recognize today as the Star of David, who is Solomon's father. The oldest source of this symbol comes from the story we just read, the Testament of Solomon, and from the Leningrad Codex, the oldest Masoteric text known, dated in 1008 AD. This makes sense when you consider why Christians don't discuss this particular story about Solomon. Ranker.com gives reasons for this quite well. Quote, "Solomon's demonic interactions reflect 1st century Judaism, not Christianity. Christianity is not big on presenting forms of magic within the scriptures unless those acts come from Jesus or God himself. As such, many scholars insist that the Testament of Solomon does not present itself as a Christian text, but that of early Judaism. The text is Haggadic, or related to readings used in the Jewish service of Seder. It also lines up with the Jewish texts steeped in magic, including oft-presented notions that Solomon was a user of magic." End quote. At the end of the Testament of Solomon, which was supposedly written by Solomon himself, Solomon marries a Shunammite woman and worships her gods. One of those gods was Rephan. Remphan, Rephan, Raphan, Rephon, Repham, and Rephaim, which contain Arabic, Syriac, Ethiopic, and Hebrew versions, all refer to the same god mentioned in Acts 7:43. Quote, "You have taken along the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god, Rephan, the idols you made to worship. Therefore, I will send you into exile beyond Babylon." End quote. This verse is referencing the six-pointed hexagon star of Remphan associated with Moloch. These pagan gods are associated with the Canaanites or Phoenicians and are historically known for worshiping Saturn. The word Satan comes from the word Saturn, and the word Saturday also comes from the word Saturn. Saturn was thought to be the furthest planet from the sun, hence Saturday is the last and symbolically darkest day of the week. The cult of Saturn was a ruthless god in Greek mythology and consumed his own children for fear of being overthrown by them. Because of this ruthlessness, Saturn became equivocated with the Canaanite god Baal, a god who required child sacrifice. The planet Saturn's north pole has an interesting storm in the shape of a hexagon. The same shape is found within the six-pointed star. The south pole of Saturn possesses another storm that some say resembles the Eye of Horus in Egyptian symbolism or the all-seeing eye in Freemasonry. The Shunammite woman Solomon lusted for, at the end of the story, is thought to be the same Egyptian princess Solomon was known to marry in the Bible. The Egyptians, at this time, had a god named Serapis. He was a god of fertility and the afterlife. This god was a combination of the gods Osiris and Apis. Apis is a bull god that requires sacrifice to worship. Apis, Serapis, Moloch, and Remphan are all the same god, with the same relation to the hexagonal six-pointed star. In the book, The History and Practice of Magic, it reads on page 303, quote, "Another physician, Theophrastus Paracelsus, revived in the 16th century and the ancient doctrine of talismans, which he claimed to be able to use successfully in the treatment of illness and accidents. This medical doctrine, derived from the Kabbalah, or secret tradition of Jewish rabbis, was said to be borrowed from the ancient occult sciences of Chaldea and Egypt." On page 304, the talisman of Saturn is depicted with instructions of conjuring spirits and a description of its images. On page 305, it reads, quote, "On the face is engraved with a diamond-pointed brin, the image of a scythe, enclosed in a pentagram or a star with 5 points. On the other side is engraved a bull's head, enclosed in a 6-pointed star, and surrounded by letters composing the name Rempha, the planetary genius of Saturn, according to the alphabet of Magi." End quote. You may think these ancient pagan gods are of the past, because what do modern people want anything to do with conjuring dark Kabbalistic magic via human sacrifice? The Vatican, in recent years, has erected a statue of Moloch in one of its most visited exhibits, the Roman Colosseum, where Christians and criminals were killed for the entertainment of the masses. In 2019, Breaking Israel News commented on the statue of Moloch in the Colosseum, quote, "There is no way that such a thing could be done without direct permission from the highest levels of the Vatican. The Colosseum of Rome is owned by the Vatican, and specifically the Diocese of Rome, also called the Holy See. If anyone wants to do anything there, they must get permission from the office of the Diocese of Rome. The exhibition, called Carthago, the Immortal Myth, cannot be held there at all unless permissions were granted at high levels." End quote. If you look at the middle torso of the statue, you can see outlining the all-seeing eye, the 6-pointed hexagram star, a symbolic representation of the south and north poles of Saturn. What is the Vatican, an organization of the Catholic faith, intending when they have permitted the display of a god directly opposed to their supposed Catholic views? The Vatican's head priests wear many different kinds of mitres, which are their headdresses. Their symbolism is inconsistent, but if one desires to see, he only must use his eyes to see their true gods.